The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSR TV, your home for sim racing.
Live tonight from Irwindale Event Center in Irwindale, California, LSR TV brings you coverage. The Cars eSport Tour round number 3 here on iRacing, Facebook Live, and iRacing.com/live. It's time for the West Coast 100. We're here to bring you all the action. Cisco Scaramuza alongside Chris Murdoch and Austin Coop. Boys, we've got racing coming up tonight. Of course, if you're familiar with the Real Life Cars Tour, we're going to be a little bit light tonight because the LMSCs didn't get a chance to race. It rained out on the East Coast, which means for us here on the West Coast, it's going to be a little bit shorter of an evening, but that doesn't mean we don't have 2 races. SK's coming up to kick us off tonight, and then after that, the SLMs will take the track just as they did over the weekend in the at the track that apparently I've completely lost. Chris, help me out here.
Wasn't it Nashville?
Yes, it was at Nashville. Thank you.
Yeah,
Either way, nonetheless, we're still going to have an Irwindale race here, and we're going to be on the small track, at least to start us out in the SKs in Austin. The SK Moto 5's 50 laps, fixed series. We're not running for money or anything like that. This is purely for just going out there and having fun.
Yeah, this track is really fun. You can do just about anything you want here at Irwindale, and it's actually probably one of my most favorite tracks on the sim because you can have you can race in the outside lane, or on the outside track you can do the inner outer track, which is really fun if you want to, and if you really want to get into close quartered racing, which is what we're going to be having tonight with these SKs, then you can run the inner course as well, which you can also do the figure 8 as well if you want to have a really interesting night. But right now we're going to keep it at least a little bit more tame than that. Have the it's going to be a 0.33 miles, a little bit more than a quarter of a mile here tonight with these guys, and we got a lot of cars going to be racing this one, and this is actually going to be a quick race here because we're running 15 sub 15 laps here tonight. Qualifying speed was a 13.194. These are really quick laps here tonight, but it's really flat at this track.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And Chris, after that, we're going to be having 100 laps for the super late models, and that's going to be kept to a 60-minute time limit. So like Austin said, very short racing here, but it should be some action-packed. And Irwindale Inner is an interesting track just because it feels almost like a Legends Oval in a way, despite the fact it, doesn't have the traditional, the big track has a smaller Legends track deal, because it has a wall, and while it does have the open infield, there's no grass in there. It's all paved.
Yeah, it is kind of an interesting layout, like you mentioned, Cisco, and it's really fast, like Coop said, sub 15-second lap time. So this 50 lap SK feature is gonna go by really fast, faster than you guys think. You said extremely light. We're not gonna be here for very long, but that doesn't mean we're not gonna get all the action that we were supposed to get in this week because Irwindale is always a fun, fast track, and it always provides great racing here.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we get a decent shot of the track here. And as we take a look at the track, we're going to run you through your LSR TV starting grid here for the SKs at Irwindale. Connor Blaze going to get the pole this time. Devin Morgan going to start second. Third going to go to Brandon Wilkinson. Fourth to Jeremy Adams. Fifth going to go to Christian Peterson. Sixth place going to go to Jeff Ward. Seventh starter going to be Tommy Ryan. James Curl going to start eighth. Ninth going to go to Tyler Cox. And Ryan Doucette rounds out your top 10.
At 11th, you'll have John Lyday with Joe Burchett starting in 12th position with Randy Oakham. 13th, Guillermo Fortin He'll start in the 14th position with Matt Shinoski. Right behind him in the 15th position to his outside, Reed Rundle starts 16th. Matt Cucker will start 17th. Sean Cross 18th. David Killa will start from the 19th position, and rounding out the top 20 tonight will be Nathan Harber.
Jeremy.
Oh, sorry, go.
Jeremy Watkins going to be 21st, 22nd going to be Cam Davidson, Brandon Stokes going to be 23rd, 24th Dustin Turnage, Jeff Rogers 25th, 26th DJ Beverly, Tyler Jordan 27th, Brian Banks 28th, and rounding out your 29 SK Field, that's Wally Wilson. A lot of cars on track here tonight, Cisco.
Yeah, there are a ton of cars on track, and they reach all the way. They go to the backstretch here, so that just kind of gives you an idea of what we're dealing with. 0.33 mile oval here, the shortest of all the possible tracks that we could have here at Irwindale. Cars getting ready to roll off here. And Austin, for some of these guys, for Christian Peterson, for Brandon Wilkinson, some of these guys we expect to see up front. What's going to be the difference? Obviously, we're in these SKs. Do you think there is going to be a huge difference, or do you think these guys are going to be able to pick right back up from where they are usually in the Fender cars?
Christian Peterson's going to have a good chance at getting towards the front, but Connor Blaze and Devin Morgan, I mean, these guys are setting some really good speed, and it's good to see that Brandon Wilkinson is also up there, and it was not by much for these top three drivers, Connor Blaze, Devin Morgan, and Wilkinson. I'd say if you're looking back through Matt Cucker, I mean, that's going to be, you're going to have to really upset some people, I think, if you're going to make it to the front, and that doesn't mean hitting them, but that does mean that you're going to be making moves that are pretty aggressive. But with this track, we're already going to be having our 1 lap to go till green here in just a little moment. I think that's where we're going to switch gears here, Cisco, and then we'll have you full production side, and we'll take over here, me and Chris up here in the booth, and let you do your work downstairs. So Connor Blaze will start these drivers here tonight from the pole position. And then it will be Devin Morgan, Brandon Wilkinson, Adams, and Peterson. That's your top 5. So this should be pretty exciting to start off the evening with some exciting racing with the Cars eSport Tour rounding out here tonight. So there goes the pace car. Green flag is out. It's a little bit of an odd place for the pace car to go, but that's where it goes. So flag racing here in turns 1 and 2.
Connor Blaze off to a good start here. Coop off down into turn 3. It's crazy to think how short this track is, and he's really got himself a good head of steam going through there. He's kind of pulling away from the second place drivers, but that's being because they're side by side in a caution already out here at Irwindale.
We talked about him earlier. It's going to be Matker who gets ran into in turns number 1, and looks like whoever was behind him, it looks like that's going to be the 41 of Sean Cross, gets into his left rear and basically just straight turns him. I don't think he thought he was going to be there or something like that. I don't think it was intentional by any means, but nonetheless, Matt Coker does get turned around. It was good for those first couple laps, but as soon as we thought we were in the clear, Matt Coker gets taken for a long slide. So Connor Blaze will continue to lead this one, and the pace car will get in front of these drivers. Now, the pace car has to go to the outside of the track. It's one of those oddities about this this Irwindale complex, is that when the inside is normally pit road and you're using that as the racetrack, it's got to go to the outside, and it goes right there off at turn number 4. So it is a little different, but nonetheless, it should be some short caution laps here tonight, and we probably will get at least a run or 2 here before the night is over. But I expect to see a little bit more of that here tonight with Matt Cucker getting a little bit dinged up here. But it's not to be surprising here at how short-corded and how fast and heavy these cars are.
Yeah, Coop, there's really not a whole lot of room for error at this track, and I think that's what we saw in the last caution. Just, you know, if you make one mistake, it's going to turn out to be a big one, especially on something short like this. And you think about how fast this race is going to go by. Well, we're already 6 laps complete here, be it it's under the yellow. They're all doubling up. Lights still aren't off on the pace car just yet, so we're going to be rolling around. I don't know why the pace car's still out there. Maybe it's having trouble catching people back up, but you got to think, once these guys get in the rhythm and get out their jitters and figure out their braking points going into this corner, into these corners, I feel like we're going to get some good runs and some good green flag racing here.
And so pace car hitting the start finish line now, and the lights are off, so we will go green. Green flag racing once again. First race start on the night, and the top 5 is as it was, except Peterson and Adams exchanged position, so it would be Blaze, Wilkinson. I guess Wilkinson and Morgan did trade places as well. Expect that to happen again. Expect those guys to get their positions back, just because of how easy it is to go on the bottom than it is on the top side. Not as much green racing there, but green flag up in the air before the pace car even gets fully off, and we're back under racing at Irwindale on lap number 8 here, side by side for the lead. Actually, Connor Blaze on the inside, and Red and Wilkinson trying the very high side. It's not as much grip up there as these guys start to get filed out to the front, but they're going to be double file well on back behind. I mean, it's just a wave of cars behind them coming out of turn number 2 right now, and another caution flag is going to wave. This is going to be for Jeremy Watkins in the number 90. Looks like same deal. He actually looks like 23 gets hit from behind. So a little bit of action between a couple drivers, and then there's a massive wreck behind. Oh my goodness! There's a massive wreck later on.
Yeah, a whole lot of wrecking going on. I think that the caution got brought out by contact between Jeff Ward, Christian Peterson, and then got sent up into Jeremy Watkins. That was the first bit of contact that we saw that sent Jeremy Watkins up the track. So just a whole lot of moving around, beating and banging early on in this race, and I don't see it stopping just yet.
And that accident happened well after the caution flag came out, at least I think. I think these guys had the caution out already, and these guys actually,
yeah, just
basically came out about the same time.
A big pile up.
Yeah, it's a huge pileup, but it happened basically at the same time. So I thought it happened after. It did not. Consequently, we had 2 major incidents right there. I don't know which one actually brought out the caution flag, but I have a feeling that either way you dice it, we needed one desperately, because there was there's a massive pileup in turn 3.
Yeah, it was basically a parking lot down there with, you know, the 22 of John Lyday. Even Matt Cucker getting involved in that one again. So not the best of starts for that 11 machine here. Matt trying to work his way up through. He started 17th up to 13th, but not without some contact. He got heavily involved in that one. Just had nowhere to go because, like I mentioned, just a parking lot down there in the corner. And when you see that much smoke and that many cars, there's not really that many places to go, Coop.
So we have 50 laps set for this race. However, if we have a few more cautions that come in tonight's race, it will be a shortened race due to the inevitable quote-unquote rain delay, or rain out, if you will, that'll happen. There's a 20-minute time limit on this race that we may see if conditions continue for this. But hey, I have faith in these guys. I know that they will get back to racing, but it's been really fun to watch these 2 up front, the 56 and the 57. That's Blaze and Wilkinson. Wilkinson might actually have some on the outside, but he's got to get basically a perfect restart here as he comes through turns 3 and 4. Expect that green flag to come out quickly. There it is, green flag out in the air. Connor Blaze once again gets these guys set down in turn number 1.
Yeah, and you can see Wilkinson hang on outside for the first 2 turns, but like you mentioned, there's just not enough grip and not enough green flag laps on the track yet to really have that matter. But Wilkinson did a good job last run of keeping up and in the mirror of the 57 of Blaze, and he's doing that just now. Meanwhile, just behind them, there's a few side-by-side battles going on. We got Jeremy Adams and Christian Peterson and all those guys back there, just a whole bunch of two wide behind them. Everybody trying to get them themselves single filed out here as Connor Blaze looks to kind of pull away from the rest of them.
Ryan Doucette making the outside work. He's going to get the position on the 80 or the 26 of Joe Burchett, and it looks like the number 112 of Devin Morgan. He's getting passed by Christian Peterson in the number 29 machine on the bottom. Now there's 2 good things about this track. You can use the very bottom and use the flat part almost like an apron to kind of pivot your car, although it's much looser, or you can go all the way up to the top and try and get as much momentum as possible. I think the bottom is definitely the way to go because it's a shorter route, but definitely both have a good strength here, as we're seeing a little bit of contact behind him. Looks like Devin Morgan gets almost spun around, but they will actually keep it together, as there's actually a lot of space behind them. But 3 wide is not terribly uncommon, as we're seeing behind all these guys. Coming at it on to turn number 1. We have 3 wide right now. It's actually going to go to turning some drivers around. So it can happen, and looks like it's going to bring out a big accident coming out of turn number 2.
Yeah, that's going to be the 27 of David Killo and the 22 of John Lyday going to start that one off, and maybe even the 11 of Matt Cucker getting in there. Once again, we saw the contact between the 27 and the 22 sent both of them out of shape, and then Matt Cucker basically finished the 27 off, just nowhere to go again for that 11 machine. So very unfortunate for him, and then other drivers piling in. Looks like maybe the O2, no, not the O2. But yeah, just drivers piling in and nowhere to go, because there's not a lot of reaction time at this track, being how short it is, Coop, and it's very hard for these drivers to see what's in front of them and really make that left or right judgment call.
And so we get closer to the halfway point of this race, and I'm not sure exactly when this rain is going to come, so I'll just kind of leave it up to that point of, hey, whenever the clock expires, we'll get the one lap to go, and then they'll finish it off if that is what we're going to have. But that was our longest green flag race, or green flag run of the evening. So hey, not so bad for these drivers. So I tell you that actually this is a 25 minutes, so I have a good feeling they'll probably be able to make it to 50 laps. That means they'd have to make a pace of more than 30 seconds a lap. Well, under caution they're at 31 seconds a lap, so I don't think that's going to happen. But with these drivers not being under caution, this really lets the tires cool down, Chris. It makes it a lot easier for these drivers up front to, I think, be able to pull away. Yeah, I think this is going to be Connor Blaze, Wilkinson, or Peterson at this point, unless they get ran into, just because of the fact that right now, it's with the restarts going the way they are, the long runs just aren't going to be able to form.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Connor Blaze is doing a great job at getting the jump on Brandon Wilkinson. Like I said on the previous run, Brandon Wilkinson is doing a great job at hanging up there for maybe half a lap. But I mean, after that, the grip just goes away, and Connor's just able to pull away. So it'll be interesting to see if he can keep him out, keep him honest as the lights are out on the pace car.
The pace car comes to the turn 3 and 4, but it will only start to peer away, and the drivers will have a green flag already displayed. So it's kind of up to their discretion when to go. There goes the 57 of Connor Blaze, and he'll get a good restart here. And Christian Peterson slamming it down to the bottom, seeing if he can get an edge on Brandon Wilkinson. He almost got Brandon with the right front, and know that Christian Peterson and Wilkinson have had history before, although I think it's well behind them now as they sit second and third. And it looks like Devin Morgan's gonna, well, looks like we got a spinner off of turn number, I don't know who that was, but I know we had a spinner.
Yeah, I saw some smoke. Gonna try to find what car that was. Not really sure. A lot of stuff happens pretty fast here. Just trying to figure out where that car was.
Just Nathan Hurlburt getting sandwiched out, and they didn't go fully around, but they definitely got really sideways, and that was almost four wide for a moment with the 11 getting involved in that. But a huge jumbled mess here coming to turn 3. These guys just know that if they're not in the top 10, they've got to do everything on these restarts to just get any position. But in my opinion, if you're outside the top 5, you're not going to win this race, at least at this point. There's got to be a massive pileup there at the front, and the skill of these guys in the top 5 is too good for that to happen. So these guys are racing like they're racing for the lead, and the guys who are racing for the lead are being pretty clean. So it's kind of one of those things where if the guys behind 5th place just think to themselves, hey, let's just try and have some fun, that's what this race is for, maybe we can get a good green flag run to the end of this one. So the running order is Connor Blaze, he's in the lead. Brandon Wilkinson finds himself in 2nd, trying to find an edge here on these restarts. Christian Peterson up 2 positions, Devin Morgan down 2 positions, and then Ryan Doucette in 5th place, he's up 5. So he's our biggest mover in the top 5 right now, and he's had to work really hard to get up there. James Curl finds himself 6th. Jeremy Adams has lost a few positions in 7th. Then you've got Joe Birch at 12th to 8th. And then Guillemot Fortin finds himself 9th. And then Dustin Turnage, 24th to 10th. That's pretty neat to see that driver get up there, because of the fact that we haven't had that many green flag runs to do it.
Yeah, not very many green flag runs, and you mentioned, you know, with all the cautions being here, we're still inside 20 laps to go, so that just goes to show how fast these guys are going around this track, even under caution, to just tick these laps away and try to get to the end of this thing. So here we go, lights out on the pace car once again as they look to get the green flag.
Wilkinson's got to try something really big here. He's maybe got to jump out a little bit more in front. These restarts as the green flag is now displayed a little bit late, but this has bunched everyone up. This might... Oh, looks like a lot of contact here on the very bottom line, but Peterson's going to get a huge edge over Brandon Wilkinson here on the bottom side of the track. So he's going to be underneath him. He's going to get that position easily. And here comes Christian Peterson to see if he can get the win here tonight and try and challenge Connor Blaze. He's got a great run coming over turn number 2, going to turn number 3. We'll see what he's got. Connor actually is sliding through the corners. Christian might have a good shot at it. And then Ryan Doucette as well. He's gone from 5th to 4th to 3rd already on this restart.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate for Brandon Wilkinson, and there was really just an accordion effect there on that restart, but now all eyes are on Christian Peterson. He's there all over the back end of the 57, and how about Ryan Doucette right there to capitalize on any mistake made? This is where the racing gets interesting. You can see the 29 of Christian Peterson try to use that bottom as best he can. He's putting tires under the apron, so to speak, and trying to get every run he can, and he needs to, because Connor Blaze has done a good job at defending that bottom line and getting a good jump on the restart. This might be the green flag run that Christian Peterson needs to make a move. Meanwhile, look at the 77 close right up to the back bumper of Peterson.
Peterson gives the 57 a shot as the 77 was super close to him as well. So Christian let Connor know he was there. It was a very fair hit in my opinion, but definitely got him upset. Christian let him have it back, and now they're back at it. I think Christian just knows that unless he really gets a great run, he's not going to be able to get by him. This track is so much momentum based and bottom line based that he's going to have to try to go under him in the corner or something really drastic, and I just don't think right now he's got it, or maybe he's hiding what he possibly could have. He's laying back a little bit, or he's losing Connor, but his angle on the corners are much wider than anybody else's. Maybe Doucette has a wider angle than him by just a little bit, but Doucette also has his hands full of Brandon Wilkinson behind him, and then Devin Morgan is also right there. Jeremy Adams still finds himself in 6th place. He's not contested right now, and James Curl, basically the top 10, is doing just fine. Actually, Reed Rundle gets ran into by the 13, and that's going to shuffle him out of the top 10, and then Tyler Cox will get that position, and looks like we got a spinner in turn number 4, so this will be a caution flag that'll set us up for a final restart tonight. And that was like Reed Rundle that got some contact, and he got spun out.
Yeah, some contact between Reed Rundle and then Jeff Ward trying to go around him. And how about the 22 of Lyday and Watkins? They got upset next to the wall. Lyday trying to go up to miss the wreck, and gets right into Watkins, send them up close to the wall. But now here is the moment of truth as we try to get everybody stacked up and get ready for our final restart of the day. Connor Blaze has done a great job, Coop, at really holding off the run, and it's really hard to get a run here at this track. We saw Peterson trying to do everything he could, but it's almost like you're in a constant turn here at Irwindale, so it's hard to use that run up and get the run off the corners, because you're barely ever straight to do anything with it, because you're turning right back into the next corner. So this is what Christian Peterson needs to try to capitalize on a Connor Blaze restart mistake, but Blaze has been flawless on the restart so far tonight.
I think it'll have to be less than Connor Blaze making a mistake, and maybe Ryan Doucette getting a little bit too eager here on this restart. If we have it, it's going to be we'll find out here in a couple laps whether we're going to get one or not, because the pace car did not take the flag around until lap 45. So it's quite possible that they may not have it. But Barnes, I think, is lining these guys up ready to do a restart anyways. Whether they go now or next time by, we'll see here into the moment. But yeah, I think that we might have a restart regardless of whether the iRacing service will give it. These guys are already double filed up, ready to go, and at least they're trying to get double file. I'm not exactly sure. It looks like some drivers are falling back and some drivers are trying to get situated, but pace car lights are still on. This lap will determine whether an iRacing service will give us a green flag here. But nonetheless, great racing here tonight so far. And Blaze, if he's able to get it here, that'll be really cool for him, winning from the pole. But we'll have to see. Pace car lights are off. We will get a one lap restart here to see who wins. I think it's going to be absolute mayhem here, Chris.
It will. A white checkered, so no matter what happens, this will end the race. So Peterson's going to have to hope for a mistake or a Ryan Doucette eager mistake to take Blaze out of the equation, because Connor Blaze is set up pretty nicely.
We got a turn 4. Restarts in the air. Oh, wow. Great restart by Christian Peterson. The outside, he's going to have to do something here. Ryan Doucette gets really hard into the corner. But it's going to be side by side for the win and for the lead and for the win. And it's going to be Connor Blaze coming out of turn number 4. Really quick 13-second lap. Connor Blaze, he will win tonight's race. Led every single lap except for maybe a caution lap or 2. But he will win this one from the pole. He had to try hard only a few times, I think. But he still had to at the very end. It was really one of those white knuckle restarts where he could have made a big mistake. And I saw him make a few mistakes earlier on. But he was able to really take advantage of those restarts that were in his direction and was able to cap this one off.
Yeah, and Christian Peterson, you can't knock him for trying. He got one of the best restarts he could hope for here on the final restarts. He even had a nose going into him, stayed side by side the whole time, but that bottom prevailed. Just not enough grip on the top. Connor Blaze, in dominating fashion, takes the win on the SK modified feature.
And so we'll look top to bottom of where your favorite drivers finished in tonight's race. Connor Blaze, he will win after 18 minutes and 50 laps of competition. He'll win from the pole, and then you'll get Christian Peterson. He'll go from 5th to 2nd, with Ryan Doucette going from 10th to 3rd. That was a great amount of positions he was able to get before the night was over. Brandon Wilkinson would fall to 4th. Devin Morgan would finish 5th. James Curl finishes in the 6th position, with Jeremy Adams finishing 7th. Joe Burchett finishes 8th. Game A 410, he'll finish in the 9th position. And then Dustin Turnage, biggest mover by far, will finish in the 10th position.
Tyler Cox going to come home in 11th. Tommy Ryan, 12th. 13th, Cam Davidson. Jeff Ford, 14th. 15th, David Kill. Randy Yoakum, 16th. 17th, Jeremy Watkins. Sean Cross, 18th. 19th goes to Reed Rundle. And John Lyday is coming to round out your top 20.
And then finishing out in the last 3 positions tonight, Matt Shinosky, Nathan Hurlbert, and Matt Cucker would finish out the night. Well, I won't say behind the wall, but they would be exiting the track early because there's no wall for them to be behind except for exiting the track here. So we will go down and get a word from the winner. Get a hold of Connor Blaze here. Connor win tonight's race with a little bit of a fun spin to it. Little track, big cars, and flat surface. And you went from the pole tonight. How'd you get it done?
It was mostly about track position. Obviously starting the pole helped me a lot there. CP was really fast. So just, lock in track position is what helped me get that.
It's a kind of fun special events like this to kind of let you test some different things. I know this isn't a car that you guys are normally accustomed to driving, but just kind of kicking it out there, having fun. Is there anything that you at least learned from this? I don't think you'll really be able to take this going forward in tonight's SLM race, but anything that you take away from this race?
I just had to be real patient with the throttle. Be easy entry, and not burn off the tires.
Well, Connor, we enjoyed watching you basically tell the field how it was done. You mastered those restarts and was able to navigate the bottom extremely well in order to hold that up. So before we let you go, we will let you take a moment. Sponsors, shout outs, who makes it happen for you?
Just want to thank Vertex Specialty Fabrications and Scott Eckert Chassis for making this happen.
All right, there you have it. Connor Blaze wins the fun one here at the Inner Circle here at Irwindale, and we will send it back to Cisco. Cisco, good race we had here, and then we'll have the SLM shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. The super late model still on deck to take the track here for what will be the main feature tonight, 100 laps at Irwindale Speedway. Before we take a look at that, we're gonna Well, I guess they didn't run, so well, they ran over the weekend, but we don't have the clips to look at that, so we're going to once again take a look at your highlights from Myrtle Beach Speedway for the super late models on the real-life side of things of the Cars Tour. But as we head to break, we'll be right back from Irwindale Speedway. Your super late models still coming up here on LSR TV and your home for sim racing and iRacing and Facebook Live.
Alpha turn number 4. 2015 Series champion Raphael Lessard and the 74 of Ryan Moore lead him off into turn number 1. Contributing ride. Currently 6th, Corey Heim 7th, and look at this, lead change, turn number 3. Jeff Fultz said, "This is my racetrack and I'm going to show the way." Jeff Fultz to the lead on lap number 2. And look at Raphael Lessard dropping back, but that is likely by design. A former winner here, Lessard knows it's all about tire conservation. Meanwhile, Lessard all the way back now to 10th, ahead of Matt Craig in the 54. There's Taylor Strickland in the 7, Jared Fryer, Jeff Batten in the 49. 3 wide as Preston Peltier decides he wants to motor around everybody he can, getting into turn number 1. And that's a little bit off those tires. Every time you got to drive it that hard, it takes a little bit off. Peltier goes around Lessard. Meanwhile, we're about a lap away from the competition caution. And there you see everybody has backed right up, or at least came right back up to Jeff Fultz, who has led nearly every circuit here at Myrtle Beach. Jeff Fultz and Chandler Smith. And Fultz going to go full steam ahead, right ahead of Chandler Smith. Behind him, though, you see Raphael Lessard. Last car in the field. And Raphael has gone from first to worst. But don't panic if you're in Quebec. Don't panic. That's probably by design. Meanwhile, Chris Fontaine decided he wants to get racing. Fontaine around Jeff Fultz, and new leader. Lap number 45, Chris Fontaine to the point for the first time in his Cars Response Energy Tour career. There are the leaders. Off of turn number 4, Jeff Fultz. Underneath the Fontaine, he wants to control this race yet again. And new leader, as we'll come around to complete lap 60, Jeff Fultz back in command here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. You probably dealt with Hut Strickland problems nearly in turn 1. Lessard and Fryer just about had contact. That was a near miss for 2 of the contenders we think may be a player here after this break. Nobody thought a whole lot about Molly Helmuth coming into this race. And here she is with 30 laps to go and caution in the air for the tire break. Molly Helmuth is in position to contend to win this race after taking. And this one appears to be a good start. Nose to nose, and will race off into turn number 1. They get it all sorted out, and they're still chasing Fultz. And here comes problems. Problems for the 33 of Preston Peltier. Up the racetrack in turn number 1. Peltier appears to have a problem. And we are off and racing one more time here at the Grand Strand. Fultz again out front, a little bit further back up the hill went Corey Heim. No harm, no foul there. As you see, here comes Raphael Lessard. Lessard up in now to the top 10, or trying to be, as he works his way around Anthony Cataldi. And the sun begins to shine here at Myrtle Beach. How much will that change this racetrack? As you see, trying to fend off Jeff Batten on the outside. 3 wide for 3rd. Batten to 3rd. Helmuth back to 4th. And who else is barnstorming in there? It's Ryan Moore. Keeping an eye on Raphael Lessard. Lessard up to 9th. Trying to get around Gustine for 8th. The laps are clicking away. Could the strategy of Lessard backfire? Could he have been? Helmuth continuing up the track she goes, trying to move Batten maybe up the hill. Cataldi looking for a spot, possibly to even go 3 wide. Oh, problems, Helmuth! Contact, and she is up into the outside wall. Heartbreak for the driver from Seattle, Washington. Pit lane. Jeff Fultz and Chandler Smith through the restart zone. Neck in neck. Smith has the slight advantage off into turn number 1. but Foltz buries his Toyota in on the bottom. He'll get the advantage and take the lead once again as they head to the back straightaway. Final trip around the half mile here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Jeff Foltz holding on to a car length lead over Chandler Smith. They both bury it into turn 1. Left side's right against the white line. Here comes Smith. He got a small run out of turn 2. It's a half a car length into turn 3. Smith unable to get to him. And Jeff Foltz, for the first time in over a decade, is going to win at Myrtle Beach the Cars Response Energy Tour. His first career win, and he will visit Edelbrock Victory Lane. Chandler Smith finishes second, followed by Ryan Moore, Jeff Batten, and others.
Back live here at Irwindale Event Center here on LSR TV, your home for sim racing, as we get set to bring you the feature presentation tonight as the cars go 100 laps here at Irwindale Event Center, the outer track this time. Back here with Austin Coop and Chris Murdoch. They'll be calling the action on track, but guys, we have to talk about what happened last time we were out here with the Cars eSport Tour. It was a Matt Cucker benefit. It felt like he basically won everything there was to win 2 weeks ago when we were out at Myrtle Beach Speedway. And Austin, you have to think coming into tonight that team's going to have a lot of momentum, and Cucker's going to want to come out here and do the exact same thing he did.
Oh yeah, we've got, I mean, when we talk about drivers who have really dominated in the Championship Esports Association, he's the first driver, I think, without a doubt, that people start to think about. A driver who's kind of, you know, made a staple for himself and a name for himself in this league and in these series as well, whether it's the simulation series that'll inevitably return, and the Cars Esport Tour as well. You know, he's got some work that he's done that's pretty dang impressive. However, I did hear that Vincier and Six Man had a little bit of struggles in practice earlier today, so we'll see how that translates. If they have figured some things out, have tuned and maybe messed up, or not messed up, but messed with the car a little bit between the practice and now. So we'll have to take a look at that. But I have a feeling that this might not be a picture perfect race for them. They may have to really work at it today.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chris, coming to this racetrack, of course, the top side where you want to be in such cases, to where some drivers will go up and hit that barrier. And Kyle Barnes, the league director, has noted to the drivers that you should try and stay off the walls. He's going to be watching for that tonight. So keep an eye out for cars maybe trying to take advantage of that. But the drivers, of course, here, it's different than the first race by a huge margin. Chris, talk a little bit about this track.
Yeah, this track is definitely going to be a whole lot different than what we saw in the previous race. Racing on the outer portion of the Irwindale Event Center now, with the half a mile racetrack with the 4 turns, and so it should be fun to see how these guys are going to take this. Definitely not going to translate anything from the last feature to this feature. Do want to take a quick second to mention, Matt Cucker. You always remember the guy who finishes in first last time we ran the Cars Esports Tour, but don't forget the guy who finished in second both times, Christian Peterson, back-to-back super late model champion.
Yeah, I absolutely have to agree with you, Chris, but as time clicks down to 0, let's send it down trackside to run through our grid here for the super late model feature from Irwindale. Andrew Wooten's going to start on pole. Justin Tromley going to start second. We had a redraw for your top 10. Third going to go to AJ Rogers. Fourth going to go to Trayton Lapovich. Fifth going to go to Jeremy Adams. Sixth going to go to Brandon Wilkinson. Seventh going to go to Christian Peterson. Starting eighth going to be Devin Morgan. Matt Cucker going to start ninth, and Jake Watson rounds out your top 10.
Starting in the 11th position tonight will be Jeff Ward, the number 7. Joe Burchett starts 12th. Then you've got John Lyday. He'll start his number 22 car in the 13th position. Benjamin Butler will start from the 14th position with Tommy Ryan starting 15th behind him. Guillaume Fortin. He'll start 16th from Randy Yoakum. 17th, Dwight Beverly. 18th. Had a little gangs all together right there, actually, so I'm sure they'll be working at least a little bit together there. And you've got Rafe Slate and Jeremy Watkins starting 19th and 20th.
Chip Digger going to be 21st, 22nd, Corey Heim, Brandon Strokes, 23rd, Chris Johnson, 24th, Wally Wilson, 25th, 26th, Scott Austin and Dustin Turnage rounding out your 27 car field. So still a lot of cars on track for this race, too shy from our first feature.
Yeah, and Chris, this is going to be, I think, a little bit different than the race we saw in Myrtle Beach. This is going to be a race that I think it's going to feel like a little bit like, and since he's here, he can talk a little bit about it, a Kansas Cup race. Wouldn't you agree, Coop?
Oh yeah, and not just in real life, but in the sim too. You know, the top side is so powerful here, and you have to use it. But it is also going to be a danger because you can get a little too much here as well. So there's a fine line between using it and then, well, in Barnes's case, abusing it, but also ruining your car for the rest of the day. So the pace car will come down pit road, and yeah, it's very Kansas-esque and it's very home to me. But what's home to these guys is going to be the top side of this track. Andrew Wooten, he'll start from pole position tonight, and the green flag is out, ready for these guys to take control of this race. The 45 of Justin Trombley takes quick action and looks like he'll get a great start. He started from second, but he's definitely going to get the lead here on for turn number 2.
Yeah, Justin Trombley using the outside like we mentioned at the top of this feature, Coop, to his advantage. You can see everybody already trying to make their way up there. The 17 of AJ Rogers is going to be the one that's stuck on the outside or low side. Now the middle, you could see that 56 of Brandon Wilkinson try to push a 3 wide. Not going to have enough room there as they're all trying to single file out Wilkinson. Then Peterson going to be on the outside of Wilkinson and try to make a quick pass for that position, but still going to be side by side.
For 100 laps, we will continue to run around the Speedway. You know, 100 laps seems like a long time, but realistically, if we have a green flag run or long green flag runs, this race actually won't be that long, which is not good for those guys in the mid-pack to late pack because these guys are starting to get spread out. Trombley's setting a good pace for everybody. Andrew Wooten, he started on pole, but just didn't get things started off correctly, but is still in second with AJ Rogers in third. So the top three is the same, but just in a different order than everyone behind, and that's whenever you start to see the gains of Christian Peterson and also Jeremy Adams. He's falling back just like he did in the SK race you were just in. But you know, 2 wide is very normal here. There's so much space on this at this track. 3 wide is to be expected at times, but we can see 4 wide here, and if we do see it, it probably will come at the latter half of this race, and definitely something we'll be excited to see as the number 56 of Brandon Wilkinson. He's trying to pilot that bottom line right on the dotted on the white line, and he actually squeezes up the 32 a little bit, and he might actually have an advantage here as the 2 in front of him also battling for position. The 2 of Andrew Wooten and the 17 of AJ Rogers that are also doing battle as they're going to experience, I think, 1 lap car that's going to be Brandon Stokes as he's in 26th position. But now back to single file between all these drivers. Christian Peterson also gets around the 32. Here comes the 12 of Devin Morgan on the bottom.
Yeah, the 32 is struggling here on the top side. He was on the bottom, switched it up to go to the top, then Christian Peterson went to the bottom to get around him. Now you're starting to see Devin Morgan go around him, so just struggling to find the line here. I was very, very impressed with Brandon Wilkinson and Christian Peterson. They were side by side for at least 4 laps there before Wilkinson finally got cleared. Now you can see Wilkinson battle with the 2 of Andrew Wooten. Wooten, like you mentioned, started on the pole, but that was that inside inside line just did not get the run he needed. Hasn't been able to bounce back since. He's been riding the high side, but as you can see, he's been getting reeled in by that 56 of Brandon Wilkinson. Justin Trombley still leads, not much going on up front. You can see AJ Rogers kind of catching that 45 machine, but not anything to note just yet. Now you can see Wilkinson make his way towards the inside of the two of Andrew Wooten. Maybe that inside line, I wouldn't technically say inside line because they're not running the bottom, but maybe a groove down is starting to work really well for these drivers.
Something to really think about here is how much these guys are wearing down on their tires, because I'm watching Trayton Lapovich starting to fall back. I don't know if that's by design or not, but this inside line I think will use your... Oh wow, the 56, sorry to change gears so much, but the 56 of Brandon Wilkinson completely cut off the two of Andrew Wooten, and Wooten got out of it quickly. Now he's going to lose a lot of momentum, and perhaps he'll lose the spot to Christian Peterson here too, but definitely he was displeased with that move by the 56 of Brandon Wilkinson, and he may not just lose that spot, he might lose another one. So definitely not something you want to see, but it's happening early that this track, when you're on the bottom, you tend to start pushing up, because guess what, it goes back to my old point I was just saying, tires are really important here, and since they're precious as they are, it's also going to be something that we'll see drivers start to fade and some drivers start to really surge later on in this race.
Yeah, and it's an excellent point to make there, Coop, because you got to think we're already 16 laps in here, and they're really ticking by fast. So you got to take care of your stuff, because battles here at this track are few and far between. Everybody's really spaced out, so you're not really going to see too much battling except the battle for your lead right now. I mentioned earlier that AJ Rogers was slowly catching that 45 of Justin Trombley here, Coop. Now he's all over the back end of the 45 and not really looking to hold off just yet. You can see Justin Trombley adjust his line, playing defensive, going all the way to the bottom to try to stop that 17 from making a move, but you're just leaving the outside line open for him. But I guess if you had to pick the two, you would want to defend the low side, because right now that inside line's working a lot better than that high side is right now. But AJ Rogers still there, and the line's starting to work for Trombley, starting to pull away.
Yeah, I actually had the same thought process as you, is that he's actually going to start being a little bit faster since he's cutting the course a little bit more. He's not actually cutting the course, but he's cutting the corner a little bit more. But in turn, I think he's going to wear his tires a little bit more, but he's getting substantial space between himself and AJ. But you can't forget that Brandon Wilkinson is actually catching both of these drivers at a good rate, and so if they're not careful, then Wilkinson will be in the fray on this one. So yeah, Justin's actually starting to pull away quite a bit from AJ. Looks like he got himself a 10th right there, and you see the 17 start to adjust his line. Actually goes to the tippy top of the track. He could go a little higher, but not quite yet. I know it's but someone's got to lay the rubber down eventually, and it looks like it's going to be him right now. We'll see if he's able to gain any speed, but that's really interesting to see that these guys are really changing the lines, trying to do something different. As the 45 starts high, then cuts it down low, is able to try and get a true arc through the corner, but in the opposite way that you normally would, because you're going to the top side. Just like Cisco said earlier on, top side is it has such a big strength here that I think that we're going to see a lot of drivers start to try and cut down a little bit as well.
And it's not even a slight change, Coop. It's a very, very aggressive change, which can have a very big impact on your tires. And spinning can also have a big impact on your tires, as we're under our first caution here tonight at the Irwindale Event Center.
Yeah, you said big impact, and then Chip Dicker took a big impact on the front straightaway. Nose to the front of his car, right into the inside barrier on the front stretch. We'll get a replay of that. And yeah, it looks like either he's coming out of turn number 4, and Justin Chernage was going much quicker than he was, and I don't know how else to say it, but he just ran him over. Maybe thought he was going to go a little faster, but he was full throttle the whole way, I think.
Yeah, I really don't know what to say out of that one. That was a really, really weird sort of events there to lead up to that. But Chip Dicker gonna be the one that loses the most, and we'll have to see how this restart goes, because first restart of the night, tires got a little bit of wear on them. We're 25 laps complete here, Coop, so just quarter of a distance here now. So this will be interesting to see what drivers cars will go where. You saw that Brandon Wilkinson was starting to catch them when the two drivers were adjusting their lines, trying to find the speed. So it's going to be interesting to see that 56 bunch back up with those AJ Rogers and Justin Trombley.
Like Randy Yoakum's gonna be coming down pit road, possibly for fuel, possibly for damage. I don't believe it feels gonna be too much of an issue here tonight, but nonetheless, he comes down. Yeah, he's got some major right front damage. I'm not sure what from, but that's definitely there, and that's a pretty big chunk out of the right front. And this isn't a huge aerodynamic track, but it does wear down on you. You won't be as fast, and airflow is definitely going to affect you a lot differently. But yeah, Justin Trombley, he started in the outside row on the very beginning of this race, and I think he caught I think the green flag may have caught Andrew Wooten asleep on it, but he has fallen all the way back to 6th place, and so he's got Matt Cucker behind him and Jeremy Adams also behind him. I guess we'll just go through your top as they follow. Trombley, Rogers, Wilkinson, Peterson, and Devin Morgan. That's 1st through 5th. Then Andrew Wooten, and the driver, as I mentioned just a second ago. 9th is Jeff Ward, and then Trayton Lapovich. He's in the 10th position. So it looks like the 45 of Justin Trombley, he will choose the outside lane. They are able to choose that. And the pace car has its lights off here, and we expect to have a restart here in just a few moments. Pace car already down, and that was very much the opposite of what we just had in the smaller oval just a little bit ago. So they come to turn number 4, and later gets to go as soon as he's inside the box. And green flag is going to be out. Justin Trombley is going to get through the gears, and we are side-by-side racing here back at Irwindale.
Yeah, and you can see the 56 of Brandon Wilkinson all over the back bumper. The 17 of Rogers really got Rogers out of shape, so you're going to see Wilkinson jump to the outside, I should say, and get up there. Meanwhile, look at that 23 of Christian Peterson all over the back bumper of Justin Trombley. Caution's out.
Yeah, we've got ourselves a caution in turn number 3, and looks like 3 wide happened, and I said earlier it can't happen, but it did not go well for the 26 of Joe Birch. It's straight in the outside wall, and man, he got some air on the front of that car, and man, a few other drivers also got involved, and I don't even think that they were. Looks like the 02 of Dwight Beverly was trying to avoid the accident, came down the track and got collected with the number 5 machine, and oh wow, very, very close quarters for the number 01 of it appears to be, I'm actually not sure who that is. Dustin Turner. That was Dustin Turner. She really scraped by, but some drivers got really torn up in this one.
And this coupe is where we maybe sort of hit the low point of the race here tonight. You know, we're getting closer to halfway, and we all know the saying that cautions breed caution. So we're in kind of the low point of this race. People trying to find their lines, maybe be too aggressive towards the back, trying to get up toward the front, because you have to try everything you can, especially with the limited amount of time here, because 100 laps on paper looks like a long time until you come to Irwindale and you realize it's not a lot of time to do anything. So you really got to make your moves fast, and mistakes do happen, and that just seems to happen quite a bit here, as we've now seen 2 cautions here tonight.
I will go ahead and mention that on that restart we had a lot of action towards the front, as we were saying that Trombley had a good restart, but the action behind him was pretty intense, with Christian Peterson, AJ Rogers, and Brandon Wilkinson all getting kind of mixed up. Actually, it looked like Brandon Wilkinson had tagged the 17 of AJ Rogers right there in the middle of turns 1 and 2 and got him loose, and then Peterson just sailed out on the outside and was able to do some work, and he'll start here in 2nd position on this restart. So really a coveted position on the outside lane, as we're seeing already, but Brandon Wilkinson just got a little bit too much, and I think he was doing his normal line. I just think he was really, really close to the 17. Just give him a tiny nudge, and AJ did a good job of being able to hold on to it. But that kind of mixes up your top 5. As we do have 1 lap to go in the 45. Choose the outside lane again here on lap number 34.
Yeah, gonna get ready to go here. We're here in race control. Get the guys in order, and we'll have to see. Christian Peterson moved up to 2nd as pace car pulls off.
Christian Peterson on the bottom, but he starts 2nd. Justin Trombley will control this restart. He will go once he's inside the box. So the green flag comes out. Green flag in the air. Trombley is going to get himself a good start. We'll see what Christian Peterson is able to do here. If he's going to try and go for it, whether he's going to save right now. And it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. He's not going to push the issue. Lap 35, no reason to, although he's going to stay on the bottom. Oh, wow. Look how high up the 17 goes. He was not happy with the 56 earlier, apparently, as they are close. And he better be careful because he almost ran himself out into the outside wall with that. So 17 is going to be aggressive and kind of get himself into that third position, as the 12 is also going to try the bottom side. And you'll definitely see that a lot more later on in the race. See these drivers try and push up, as we're accustomed to seeing these drivers push down. And oh, wow, what a move to the bottom. The 56 cut the 12 off quite a bit. I don't think Brandon's making very many friends here tonight, as he's been very aggressive.
Yeah, and Brandon Wilkinson is no stranger to those aggressive moves. He knows how to work around a short track, especially Irwindale, and he's trying to get around the 17 of AJ Rogers the best he can, but it's not really prevailing right now. These drivers racing to lap 74 here, Coop. That'll be when the comp caution comes out, and then they'll race it to the end. If there is no prior yellow to that, Justin Trombley is leading, pulled quite a bit of a gap on Christian Peterson so far. Peterson trying to reel that 45 back in like he was doing the previous runs. AJ Rogers got free of Brandon Wilkinson, so now he can try to work on catching those guys once again, and Wilkinson's got to hold off Morgan, Cucker, Ward, all of those drivers. You can see Devin Morgan really closing up to the back bumper of the 56, and he's going to stay on the inside, but that almost killed that 12 Machines run, and he's going to have to try again here through the corners. He didn't really complete the arc and really lost momentum off of that corner.
Trying to see some really fun lines by these first three drivers. Emily and Rogers are running very high on the track. It looks like Christian Peterson's going to try and do the same. There's so much momentum up there, but you do kind of sacrifice a little bit on the right front by staying up there, and you also just kind of let somebody on the inside if they're close enough. For those three drivers are pretty spread out, they don't have to worry about that. But the fastest driver at that time was actually AJ Rogers, but it's so minimal. Actually, it was Wilkinson behind them, but Wilkinson's also been pressured many laps before. But these lap times are actually pretty close, and the fact that these guys make their setups, they're very used to being able to have different setups and having different configurations under the hood. This is really fun to see these guys just run very close lap times despite that. So seeing the battle for the fourth position, Devin Morgan's on the inside of Wilkinson. It looks like Wilkinson's going to be able to stay on board to the bottom as the 12, but I don't think he's going to be able to get it anytime soon. He's got to have a really good run. We've seen it here on LSR TV, some drastic Irwindale racing. One race that I was a part of that came down to a bottom pass, but Devin Morgan's got the bottom hooked up. Look at him go. He's actually going to be able to get that pretty easily over Brandon, I would say. He's got to have a good run off at turn number 4 here, which he doesn't. The 56 is going to still be on the outside, but we should be able to get him here off of 2. This has been his best corner. He's gone off 2, and the 69 of Cucker, he is fast on the bottom 2, going side by side here for the top 5 position.
Yeah, you mentioned Matt Cucker, Christian Peterson, his teammate, in second. You mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Coop, these guys having a little bit of trouble in practice, but it looks like they've got all of those issues sorted out for the most part, because there goes Cucker right around Brandon Wilkinson. Meanwhile, up in front of them, a battle for the second position. AJ Rogers going to pass Christian Peterson like he was sitting still on the front straightaway, going to easily make that outside line, or hook up on that outside line and get right around that 23. So look at AJ Rogers maybe going to try to go up there and rekindle the battle with that 45 of Justin Trombley.
Yeah, and I think that was a gentleman's move by Peterson, recognizing one of two things: either the speed of the 17 or the desire not to race him. Because I know Peterson is much faster than that. He went all the way down to 84 miles an hour in the corner, and that's just not something he's done. And also, what I'm seeing is that he changed his line since he got behind the 17, so he's seeing what he's doing. Actually, he's trying something different, but he's getting very close to that wall. He can use that the whole right side of that car if he's not careful. So These guys can get really close to that barrier, that big opening in turn number 1 as well. Looks like some battling behind them is getting pretty fun to watch. Just outside the top 10, or inside now, is Andrew Wooten. He's going to pass Rafe Slate here for position, but we're going to go 3 wide here coming out of turn number 4. A little bit of contact between the 08 and the number 2, and the 2 is going to be able to get by, and that was very close for those guys. And the 08's going to send it back to him. And we're back 3 wide here on the back straightaway. These 3 will not quit. The 2 almost got back at him, actually. And Ray Slate's going to get by. 32 is going to try and get position. Not going to happen. And they're going to be side by side. That was some exciting racing right there for a little bit. And looks like Trey is going to try and get back on the bottom side. Try and get 10th place back from Ray Slate. He gets a little bit of contact to that left rear. Here comes the 32 on the very bottom of the track. He might actually have it right here.
Yeah, aggressive racing all throughout the track here. Now we look up in front of them. Matt Cucker gonna try to get by and does, and Jeff Ward, they're all trying to pass some lap traffic. Lap traffic is not something we mentioned here too much here, Coop, but it can happen, especially at this short of a track. And we have completed lap 54 on to 55, which means we finished the counting up process, and now we start counting down. Only 100 laps tonight in the SLM features, so just under 50 laps to go, and it's really showing that these guys need to make their moves and make them fast, because these guys are really getting aggressive.
Talking about the two drivers up front that appear to be the fastest, it would be the 45 of Justin Trombley and the number 17 AJ Rogers. Rogers is running significantly faster, although we are having some lap traffic, but Peterson's starting to catch back up to AJ. Maybe he's figured something out, and so that's going to be really fun to watch. Devin Morgan still sits quietly in 4th, with Matt Cucker starting to peer into this battle as well. He's I think faster than all the drivers in front of him, so he's definitely the one that I expect to mix things up here. But it is halfway, like you said, so we'll take a look at your midway race break presented by iRacing. We'll go through your full field rundown here. Justin Trombley finds himself in the 1st position with AJ Rogers in 2nd. Christian Peterson in 3rd. Devin Morgan 4th. Matt Cucker 5th. Jeff Ward 6th. Brandon Wilkinson finds himself in the 7th position. Jeremy Watkins 8th. Jeremy Adams 8th. Jake Watson 9th. And then Trayton Labovich, he finds himself in the 10th position.
Rafe Slate gonna be back in 11th with a whole lot of battling going on. Tommy Ryan and Andrew Wooten doing battle for that 12th place position right now. John Lyday just behind them in 14th. Scott Austin 15th. 16th goes to Randy Yoakum. 17th Dustin Turnage. 18th Benjamin Butler. 19th Chip Dickert, and rounding out your top 20, Jeremy Watkins.
In the 21st position, Chris Johnson. Then you've got Game A 410, and at the 22nd position, 23rd, it's going to be Brandon Stokes. Dwight Beverly finds himself, and these guys, Brandon Stokes and on, they are out of this race or heavily damaged and trying to get their cars fixed. And then you've got Dwight Beverly 24th, Joe Burchett finds himself 25th, Corey Heim 26th, and Wally Wilson 27th. So that's been a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing, the world premiere online racing game. And remember, iRacing is professionally organized racing with NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, and more. And for more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities, you can visit iRacing.com to sign up today. And thanks to our friends at Red Bull Global Rallycross, you can now visit iRacing.com/membership and use the PR-GRC code for an opportunity to start your career on iRacing with 3 months for only $5. That's promo code PR-GRC, and that's for new members only. So Justin Trombley continues to lead the way, but his lead's got him just a little bit shorter here as of late. It's down to 0.6 of a second.
Yeah, and I do want to make a quick note here, Coop. Under that midway race break, there was a whole lot of battling going on between the 6, the 2, and the 22. That's Tommy Ryan, Andrew Wooten, and John Lyday. The battling just finished up between John Lyday and Andrew Wooten. He talked about Brandon Wilkinson not making too many friends. Well, how about the 2 of Andrew Wooten? He was getting beat up by the 6 of Tommy Ryan and the 22 of John Lyday, even throwing a few shots in there towards the end. So the 2 out on an island all by himself right now is Tommy Ryan was able to get clear of him, and now he focuses on Rafe Slate up there. Meanwhile, up front, like you mentioned, Justin Trombley leading. AJ Rogers slowly but surely catching him, and how about Christian Peterson? The lap traffic really worked in his favor there, Coop. He was able to reel back in that 17 of AJ Rogers.
Yeah, but I'm not done watching this fight with Rafe Slate and Trayton Lepsovich because of the fact those two had a run in earlier on, and so we'll see how those two run with each other. Looks like maybe very close racing in turn number 2. Maybe just a little bit of contact between the two. Oh, the 8 and the 32. They're basically door to door right there in turn number 3, and they were on each other. I mean, I don't think they were stuck together for a little bit. They were like glue there for a moment. The 32 may not be extremely pleased about that, but that gets the 08 the position, and I think Tommy Ryan had an opportunity, but they were so close together. I thought they were going to wreck, and I thought they were just for the moment, but they will continue to battle on. Like you said, Andrew Wooten probably wants to get back up there, and he was the one who was bullied the most, like you said, and I think he's going to try and figure out a way. But look at the number 6, Tommy Ryan. He slid out to the outside of the 32. He's going to try and get the position here by taking the momentum route on the outside, and he's going to be able to do it, I think. He gets the position. He's going to try and keep the momentum and keep going forward as he's going to look to the number 08 to get a top 10 position tonight.
And how about this racing here tonight, Coop, at Irwindale? There has been racing all over the place, including a battle for the 23 and AJ Rogers. We just hit the white flag before we come to the comp caution, so everybody is racing towards the end here and trying to get all the positions they can, but the 23 just not gonna have it for that 17. But like I was mentioning, how about this racing here tonight, Coop? These guys are pushing it to their limits as clean and as hard as they can without wrecking each other. This is what the Championship Esports Association and the Cars Esports Tour is all about, as we have now hit that comp caution.
Yeah, this is a scheduled and planned competition caution that'll happen after so many laps are under the green flag conditions. This will let all the drivers get back and recuperated, and in this scenario, this will allow us to basically see a mad dash to the finish. We'll have, I think, a little bit less than 20 laps to go here on this one, and man, it's going to be a lot of fun. We saw a lot of side-by-side racing after that long green flag run. I think only in this case, at least in my opinion, I would have loved to see that keep going, but this was definitely a planned scenario, so these guys at the same time knew what was at stake. Each position at that point does mean that they will be able to start a little bit higher on these restarts, and you know, just like I do, Chris, that the restarts are where you get the most positions, so that's going to really be a big deal here. So while we're under the caution flag, we'll give a big shout out to our friends at Joel Real Timing. Coverage of the Cars eSport Tour is brought to you by Joel Real Timing, the official timing software of LSR TV. Whether you spend time on the sim behind the wheel, on the pit box, or from the spotter stand, Joel Real Timing is the go-to software for iRacing timing and scoring analytics. You can get yourself a basic download or get the pro version today at joel-real-timing.com. As Justin Trombley navigates this field under the caution flag, he's basically been there all day. I don't think there's been a lap that he hasn't led tonight, Chris, and I think that might give him some extra confidence going into this last restart. But at the same time, there has been some new players that appear towards the front that haven't had their shot at him yet. AJ Rogers been there. Christian hasn't been quite there to make the pass for the lead, but he's kind of been there. Devin Morgan, Matt Cucker, they are definitely new players in this one as well, as they started 8th and 9th, and then Jeff Ward, he's in the 6th position. He came from 11th position. So expect these drivers to really maybe show their hand here. I would just say at least a few of them were holding on just a little bit less than they normally would, just because they knew that competition caution was going to come out. So Justin Trombley, he will start these guys once again. He started every single restart. He's also started on the outside of every single green flag that has been displayed. So with 20 laps to go, we'll have a 20-lap suit to see which one of these drivers will win this race here at the Irwindale Event Center. Green flag in the air. Justin Trombley gets a great start. He's going to keep going the outside. No contest yet, but it's going to be the outside. Devin Morgan had a great run. 3 wide for a short moment. And Christian Peterson's going to get shuffled back just a little bit. And Devin Morgan still on the outside. Great run with the 12. And it's going to be 3 wide here on the front straightaway for second position. Christian Peterson down at the very bottom of the track. And I think Devin Morgan may have just let off a little bit too much. But he gets into the 17, pushes him a bit. And he's got the 69 to his inside. Good side-by-side racing action here at Irwindale.
Yeah, these guys know that they have to take the gloves off, grip that wheel tight, and go for it, because they've got to get up there and have something for that 45 of Justin Trombley here. Coop, you can see Christian Peterson trying everything, but he's going to have to wait as a caution comes out once again.
Rafe Slate gets turned around, and we'll have to see what the reason is. I know earlier on they had a little bit of scuffles with some of their drivers, but actually that is not going to be the case. Not a reoccurring theme from earlier. Looks like the 6 of Tommy Ryan actually gets into him, and he almost saved it, actually. I don't know. Man, he was so close to saving that car a number of times, but I think he just had a little bit of extra contact that made it so he was not able to save it. So Rafe Slate goes for a spin. That'll be another caution on the night, which also means another restart for these drivers and another reset for those guys up front. But nothing big here for these guys. Rafe Slate and the number 6 of Tommy Ryan, they'll go to the back of the restart grid here. They'll go to the very end, and we'll have to see exactly what those guys are able to do, see if they're able to get any of those positions back, but more importantly, what these guys up front are going to do with this restart. We're going to have less than 15 laps to go here. Anything can really happen here, but I think Justin Trombley truly has a good hold on this race right now.
He does, and that restart really proved it, Coop. You know, he pulled away from AJ Rogers and Christian Peterson as Peterson was trying to get around Rogers, and he really just, I mean, it goes back to what Connor Blaze said in the SK modified feature when he won that. It's all about track position. Getting that track position and where you start really affects your race, and you know, getting that start, being able to control the line, being able to pick where you want to start, and even picking when you want to go. It's just such a huge advantage for these guys up front. Justin Trombley using every bit of that to his advantage, and it's really showing here tonight, leading every single lap and starting every single restart. He looks almost unbeatable here, but with Christian Peterson, Matt Cucker, even AJ Rogers back there, I'm still not going to count any of these drivers out.
The top 5 is as follows: Trombley, Rogers, Peterson, Cucker, and Devin Morgan. These guys will be the top 5 here, and I kind of like I said in the SK race, if you're not in the top 5, it's going to be, I think, pretty difficult at this point to win. We're going to have, I think, maybe 11 laps to go here once we get the restart, and unless something big happens with those guys up front, you're really hoping to just get maybe a few more spots to win the race. Is pretty out of reach. But we have seen some double file, triple, or not double. We've seen some side by side, some 3 wide, and occasionally some 4 wide racing here tonight. And we see them more likely on the restarts. And we've seen some really crazy finishes here at Irwindale, and I think for me in particular, I hope that we have something just as good as we've seen in races past. So Justin Trombley, I think, who wants it to be as calm as possible. AJ Rogers hopes that he can maybe do something on this restart that's not extremely predictable. And then Christian Peterson, Matt Cucker, they're probably figuring something out together to try and take one of these guys down, or if not both. So coming out of turn number 3 and engine number 4, when will Trombley go? Green flag is going to be out, and I think Trombley was a little out in front more than he should have been, but nothing called yet. Trombley will get the lead, and Matt Cucker will be right behind him. I think Cucker's got the best chance at getting this if it's anyone behind Trombley, because he has not been up here at all. He might have been saving his tires. Straight wide behind him there for 3rd. Oh, looks like Matt Cucker's going to get hit, and he's going to take the 17 out. Big recognize you on the front straight, and I think the 17 is going to take the exit. Oh, no. He almost... Oh, that was close for him. He almost went down the exit.
Yeah, that was such a big wreck right there. We're talking about Matt Cucker maybe saving some tires, maybe just a little bit too aggressive there from those drivers. Really got into contact. Matt Cucker tried to use AJ Rogers to save it down the front stretch, but ended up spinning them both out. And as you mentioned, AJ Rogers not really having any control of his car, and he was headed down the exit, like you said, that small little narrow window there going into turn 1. He was able to fit his car in there and almost went for a spin down through there. That would have been very, very unfortunate, but now we're going to be able to line him up once again inside 10 laps to go here, Coop.
Well, I said if you're outside the top 5, you wouldn't really have a chance at winning this race, but hey, look, he's in 3rd position now after that. It's Jeff Ward, and then Devin Morgan still in 4th position. He's been there all night. I think he's kind of tired of being in 4th place. But, yeah, Jeff Ward's truck, or not truck, goodness, that's Saturday night, so looks like Jeff Ward is not going to be having the best car at the end of the night, but he's in a position to make something happen here if it happens. But I think, yeah, well, penalties are being given out. Matt Cucker and AJ Rogers are going to the back of the field here, and I think Trombley's restart was under review, but I don't know. I don't think anything is going to be happening because of it. And so Trombley will stay on the bottom side here, and the pace cars lights are still on. We'll have less than 5 laps to go, so it will be the final race start of the evening here at Irwindale. Top 5, Trombley, Peterson, Ward, Morgan, and Wilkinson. Been some really exciting racing here towards the end, and might be just one of those famous Irwindale finishes here tonight. So any predictions here before we get this last race start underway here, Chris? I have a feeling that Justin will probably be able to hold on. He just has to have a good restart.
It's going to be hard for people to beat that 45 machine. He started on the outside on every single restart, which is the lane where you want to be, and you can see him shading up there as we get ready to go back green. They're going to double him up, so that means we'll have 5 laps to go at the line to end it all. But Justin Trombley, he started second, was able to get it away from Andrew Wooten, and then he really just ran away with it. So it's going to be hard to beat that 45, Coop.
For the final time tonight, these guys will get themselves here through turns 3 and 4. Christian Peterson gets another shot at it. Jeff Ward and Devin Morgan, they look to try something out here as well. Green flag in the air. Justin Trombley will get a good restart, really good restart. Almost clears the 23, and so going through turns 1 and 2, they'll keep going. A little bit of contact behind them. Nothing too surprising here for Irwindale. Christian Peterson dives it down in there, but the 88 of Jake Watson just absolutely body slammed the 89 of Jeremy Adams out of the way, and I don't think Adams is going to be too happy about that. And Peterson's going to try the top side, and the 89 of Jeremy Adams is not having it. He just got hit again. But as they go 3 wide, Peterson's going to the outside here, trying to get some massive momentum. But right now, the 45 is trying the bottom side. It's working out for him right now with 2 laps to go, or 3 laps to go.
3 laps to go, Coop, and if there's anybody that knows how to play spoiler, it is that 23 of Christian Peterson. Like I mentioned at the top of the feature, back-to-back super late model champion, so he knows how to get around places in this super late model. But Justin Trombley out to a sizable lead with 2 laps to go, so I don't think Christian Peterson just has it in the cards to be able to take it from that 45. Now he's going to have to defend Devin Morgan back there, so Justin Trombley comes out of 4 to take the white flag. 1 more lap to go at Irwindale.
I think Christian Peterson is just too far away. He's got a full car length, maybe even 2 now, coming out of turn number 2. And as they navigate through turns 3 and 4, Devin Morgan goes all the way down to the bottom, but it's not going to mean anything against the 45 of Trombley. He'll get the victory here at Irwindale. I do believe, this may be incorrect, but I think he led every single lap tonight. He did a wonderful job of being able to take care of business and really take advantage of where he started. He's going to come down pit road. I don't think he's going to celebrate. I think he's just going to plan on come down pit road and just park it. So number 45, Trombley gets the victory, and then your other top 3 drivers is Christian Peterson and Devin Morgan. Really good racing by all the drivers, and for him in particular, he just did a wonderful job of being able to navigate the restarts. But on that long run too, he had really good speed.
Yeah, he was able to, you know, maximize his tires and really play well on the outside line and really get everything out of the racetrack that he needed to. Another dominating fashion, or another dominating race here at Irwindale. So very, very good for Justin Trombley. Congratulations to that 45 team. But man, Christian Peterson so close.
So close, gets another second place finish, and I don't think he'll be too upset because it's always a nice, good points day. So Justin Trombley, he'll win tonight's race. We'll go through the full field rundown as where your driver is finished. Christian Peterson finishes in the second position with Devin Morgan finishing third, so he didn't finish fourth. He actually gained that spot, and we'll talk to him a little, all three of those drivers in just a little bit. Jeff Ford will find himself fourth. Brandon Wilkinson starts in the fifth place, or will finish in the fifth place position. Jake Watson, sixth. Andrew Wooten, seventh. Trayton Lapsovich finishes in the eighth position. John Lyday, ninth. And then Race Lake, he will finish in the 10th position.
11th will go to Matt Cucker. 12th, Randy Yoakum. 13th, Tommy Ryan. 14th, Jeremy Adams. AJ Rogers. 15th, Scott Austin. 16th, Dustin Turner. 17th, Benjamin Butler. 18th, 19th, Jeremy Watkins. Chip Dickert rounds out your top 20.
Finishing in the 21st position would be Game A 410 with Chris Johnson finishing 22nd. Brendan Stokes would finish in the 23rd position, and these drivers were multiple laps down, did not get a chance to get back out there and fight with these guys. 23rd, Brendan Stokes. Dwight Beverly, 24th. Joe Burchett finishes in the 25th position with Corey Heim, 26th, and Wally Wilson would finish out not being able to really make any laps tonight, finishing 27th. So we'll go directly to the man of the hour, Justin Trombley. We will get a word with him in victory lane. Justin, you get yourself a decent starting position on this one, and you are able to secure it. I do believe you led every single lap. I think you can tell me better if you led anybody around you.
No, this is the first time I raced this track in 5 years or so, so I knew I had kind of a rocket ship for hotter weather, but it took me a while to get used to this colder weather, and I was still a little too tight. But once I saw I was starting outside pole, I thought maybe I'd have a chance.
Well, definitely you had a fast race car, and I think regardless of the weather, you seem to really have the reins down, and I think it didn't matter whether you'd raced here in 5 years or whether you started practicing the last couple of weeks. It looked like you had this place down pat, and it seemed like you always had maybe not the fastest line, but I think the most efficient line all night. You had a good fast car, and then even in the long run, you had some really good speed. Anything in particular that really helped you out for tonight's race?
I tried to run the line that everybody else was running tonight, but I don't know if I don't have the talent or whatever. I just was like a tenth slower when I tried to run really, really high. When I arced it in and tried to diamond the corner, I seemed to be faster. Maybe it was setup, maybe it was me, maybe it was both, but that's why my line was a little different than anybody else's. But it seemed to work halfway through the race, so I just kept doing it.
I did a very good job, and yeah, I think you would know more than us if you let anybody by. So I definitely think unofficially you lead all 100 laps, and so at the end of the night you're the victor. And who makes it happen for you?
It's just me and Brad Mayhar for setting the car up, and it's just me and him working on it. But I'll thank him.
Right, there you have it. Justin Trombley finishes tonight the winner, and definitely a lot of momentum for the next race to come. Thanks for giving us a moment of your time there, Justin.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
And we'll move it down swiftly to the next driver, Christian Peterson, who finishes in the second place position. He'll be caught up with Chris Murdoch here. Chris, I'll leave it down to you.
All right, standing by with Christian Peterson. Don't hate me for saying this, but racking up another second place finish here in the Cars eSports Tour. Your second in the super late model division. That seems kind of familiar in another series somewhere as well. But talk about the race out there tonight. How is the car? How is the track?
Yeah, I'm first off, I'm pretty sick and tired of finishing second, but no, we'll take it. And then just got to thank everybody at Vince here and Peterson Irrigation, Globalcom, and Six Man Race Cars that put in the work every week. But I don't know, the setup, I never really work on a qual set, so I kind of just go off what Jeremy gives me for that. And I was surprised I was able to put it somewhat close to him. I think we were like, I don't know, 5th or 6th without the invert, but we got through the field pretty quick there at the beginning. And then I thought I had something for Tremblay, and I was like, I don't know. You know, we hung up for a couple laps, and then he just pulled us. I was too tight off, but hats off to him.
We saw you guys out there changing lines throughout the race. Some people would run up the high line, some people would run up next to the wall, and then some people would kind of, you know, cut it all over the place. How was the tire fall off? Did that really impact the line you run trying to find speed, and how did the track progress throughout the race?
For me, at least, I could go. I was starting. My setup was based for, like, you know, kind of entering in the middle and cutting it down. And like Tremblay was doing pretty much all night, but towards the middle to the end, you know, it got tight center. So there was a lot of just bite up top, side bite up top by the wall. So I was just using that to just bide my time and ride around in third. I was at the time, and I let the 17 go by and try to chase Tremblay down, and then avoided that wreck late with my teammate Cucker. I felt bad for that, but stuff happens. I was just happy to get through it, and then yeah, I was just with starting on the inside with Tremblay taking the outside every time. It was hard. Just trying to fight to get back up in the line, but I didn't have too many issues, so it was pretty good.
So, transitioning to the future, the next time we see the Cars eSports Tour on track, it's at one of my favorite short tracks on the schedule, Martinsville Speedway. How excited are you for Martinsville, and what are you looking forward to in that race?
Yeah, we won there last season, so we're going to go off that setup and see what we can do, but we got a little bit of stiffer competition this season, so it should be a little harder. Tremblay's been really fast both weeks. I think, no, not taking anything away from Cucker last week and his victory at Myrtle Beach, but I think Tremblay was the fastest car there that week. So we got a little catching up to do, but I think we gained this week from Myrtle Beach, so I think we'll be all right.
Well, after this many seconds, 3 seconds in a row to be exact, it's almost like you're due for a win, and what better way to do it than Martinsville? You alluded to him earlier, Christian, but before we let you go, sponsors, shout-outs, who makes it happen for you?
Yeah, everybody I said before, Six-Man Vincier, Scott Austin Designs. He does a lot of the paint schemes for the team. Everybody watching, really, just my parents are downstairs watching. My girlfriend, thanks for the support, you know, let me do this, all that good stuff. So, and thank you guys in the booth at LSR TV. You guys do an awesome job.
All right, thanks for the kind words, Christian. We look forward to seeing you at Martinsville, hopefully talking to you again then.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
All right, and there you have it. Coop Christian Peterson, back-to-back Super Late Model Series champion, finishes second here tonight. Looks to maybe improve on that down the road, but I'm going to throw it back up to you. Going to be talking to Devin Morgan in third.
Devin Morgan finishes tonight in the third position, and we got a quick word for you. Before tonight's race, you fourth in points, and you were basically fourth all night tonight, and then you eventually got yourself to third and are able to talk to us. But talk to us about how your season went and has been going so far, and how tonight's race has really kind of started working in your favor, at least towards the end.
The night's race went really well. Our season for the late model stocks is pretty good so far, but the supers, we had an unfortunate incident coming to checkered last weekend at Myrtle Beach, or 2 weeks ago, and that put us back in 25th in points. But we had a good night. I felt like we got killed on track condition. I think we had one of the best cars out there, and track condition is just so key here. Track position.
Well, before we get to much of the race, you basically had yourself, or let me just rephrase that. Basically, all this entire race, you were sitting in fourth place, just inside the top 5, and it seemed like there were people you'd pass, and then people that would pass you. Was there something that was doing really well for you, but just wasn't that that key thing to get you out to the front to hang with the guys up front facing for the winner? Was there something else that you were focusing on? But it seemed like you had yourself in a very comfortable situation all night, and that there wasn't really anything that really messed with that. But was it the restarts, or was it just the setup on the car today?
Well, it was a combination of restarts and setup of the car. The car wasn't really that good up there on the top. But right through the middle where no one else was running, it was really good. I could make up a lot of ground there since I had a clear track ahead of me. The competition caution kind of messed me up a bit, got me out of my groove, and I had to restart on the outside there. I think if we would have went green, I would have had a shot at Trombley maybe, but it's just mostly track position. It's just so key here at this track.
Well, before we let you go here, Devin, shout out sponsors. Who makes it happen for you on that number 12 machine?
I got to thank Scott Eckridge Chassis, Spotter Wilkes, Kirkwood Transportation Services, and Mad Dog Motorsports.
There you have it. Devin Morgan finishes tonight in the 3rd place position. And we'll go back up, all of us in the booth, and he's got to still race a little bit. And it was definitely one of those races where we had some really tight action, but we also had some moments that were especially in that long green flag run there, Chris, that it was, you could see how everything was starting to really mold and how these drivers were able to do the long run. We had a little bit of everything, even some 4-wide racing for a few moments, but in the end, Justin was able to come across the winner. And even like he said, he may not have been the fastest one today, but he's definitely in the best position to make it happen.
Yeah, track position really key, and I really enjoyed this race tonight, Coop, because there was a lot of green flag action and a lot of aggression out of these drivers at Irwindale, and I expect no less when we come back here in a few weeks' time at Martinsville.
I'll talk with Cisco a little bit and see maybe what was Mr. C was is thinking about how tonight's race went.
Is that the new nickname? Am I
Mr. C?
Mr. C.
Vitamin C.
But yeah, no, it was absolutely a great race, and we weren't able to show it, but Kyle and I up in the booth we were watching kind of the battles all around 6th through 10th, and it was just absolutely crazy. So that was awesome to see, Austin, and just a great race in general. I mean, yes, Justin Trombley led every single lap, but apart from that, it was actually a really competitive race, and I don't think the laps led total really does this race justice. There was so much great racing, and just the side-by-side that we saw between the 32 and a couple other cars in the 2 and all sorts of just awesome stuff.
Yeah, it was really interesting, Cisco, because there was a whole lot of, like you mentioned, battling all over the place, side by side, 3-wide even, and a whole lot of beating and banging. These guys were not holding their punches back. I just want to say my heart kind of feels for Christian Peterson there. I mean, 3rd, 2nd place in a row. It's starting to become all too familiar to that Cup Series. For those of you not getting my reference earlier, starting to become the Kyle Busch of the Cars eSports Tour.
But hey, he in a way, I mean, 2nd place still isn't bad. I mean, he still gets on average more points than everyone else so far. So I mean, 2nd kind of stinks, but at least it's not terrible.
But Austin, just as Kyle Busch said, imagine if all those 2nd places were wins. But we'll just have to find out what happens when we come back to Martinsville later on in the month. But that'll do it for us here from Martinsville. From Irwindale Event Center. We'll be
getting ahead of yourself.
Yeah,
we're
getting ahead of yourself
on April 25th, and you can catch that right here on the iRacing YouTube channel, Facebook Live, and iRacing Live, and that'll do it for us up here in the booth as well. So first of all, for league admin Kyle Barnes, everybody at CEA who makes it happen, for the broadcast overlay stuff, Tony Stevens and Pit Row Media for the graphics. The CEA, like we mentioned, Kyle Barnes and Joe Burkett for making that happen. Chris Regal and the Cars Drove for their support. Drew Adamson, Tony Gardner, and the staff at iRacing for getting the series on the official channel and for helping us out behind the scenes. And for the broadcast crew tonight, for Chris Murdoch, Austin Coop, I'm Cisco Scaramouza saying good night from Irwindale Event Center. We'll see you around the turn.